Right, okay, we've got Pixinsight loaded up, and we're now going to load up the image that we're going to be looking at. In this case, it's IC434, Flame Nebula and the Horsehead Nebula. So when stacking in Pixinsight, you'll get 3 images come up. We don't need to worry about the rejection of the high or the low, so those can be deleted. So what I tend to do now is do an auto stretch just to see what we got. And there we go, you can see it's a little bit on the green side. So first thing I'm going to do is use the automatic background extractor. And we're going to go to subtraction. We're going to discard the background model and we're going to replace that with the updated version. Takes a few seconds. Right, there we go. So we've now got the version now with the background model removed. Do an auto stretch on there and you can see what we've got. So then I'm going to crop it. Obviously this time it's not the angle that we're used to dealing with, so and there we go. And then I'm just going to crop out the black edges. As we're aiming to extract a lot of the dark cloud, I'm going to keep the majority of the image as much as possible. There we go, I can close the dynamic crop, and there we go. So that is only 1.5 hours exposure, so I'm using 5 minutes sub, so as an image it doesn't look too bad so far. So what I'm going to do now is the background neutralization. So I'm going to use a preview. I'm going to pick a nice dark area, not that one because I've done that wrong. I'm going to zoom in to an area there's no stars. There we go, it's a nice big area. So we pick a little area like that. Target image is going to be preview 1. Okay, and then apply. There we go. And I'm just going to do a stretch again. Zoom out, and then I'm going to do a second preview of the whole image. And then we're going to do calibration. So the top one is the lighter image, so we're going to go for preview 2, then preview 1. And then we're going to run that. What this is doing is hopefully removing some of the light pollution. And there we go. So now we can get rid of that. We can get rid of the previews as well. Don't need those. I'm now going to do an SCNR just to remove the green. It should only take a couple of seconds. It's pretty quick. SCNR normally. There we go. So now we've got an image that we can denoise. So for this purpose I'm going to extract a channel. So we're going to keep the L, untick the A and B and go and highlight the CIE box, and then we'll run that. And then what we need to do is create a mask. So we're going to use the screen transfer function. Click the nuclear symbol, and there we go. We've got a lightness basically image. And then we've got to transfer the screen transfer over to the histogram. Click the square, that will then apply that to our mask. We can then close that down. And then we're going to disable the screen transfer because it's been reapplied twice. There we go. And then we can apply that as a mask. And that's gone a little bit funky, so we just need to invert the mask. And then we don't want to show that. So now we're going to go to MLT, or median linear transfer, multi-scale linear transfer function. So what we're going to use here is for denoising. So we're going to put in a bit of trial and error. You only need to use 4 levels normally, I find, for the first run. Go. Now if we zoom in and apply that, and there we go. You can see now that the image has been it's a lot smoother, so that's a nice image to start working with. So we can close that down. We don't need that. If we zoom out, it's a nice clean image now, and you can start to see some of the dust in the background. So we're going to unapply the stretch. Now we're going to go to Histogram Transformation, and then we're going to use select on where the master light. I tend to expand that, make it a little bit easier. Round circle gives us a preview, so we know what we're doing. And this one takes a little bit of time in doing several iterations. So there we go, that'll do to start with. Apply that one. There we go, reset again, and then we drag that in again. Yeah, that'll do to start with. So we just take our time, no need to rush, which is a good thing with this laptop. Reset again. Now we're looking at the histogram. We don't want it to go any more than here. It's about 25%. So we get, as you can see, bringing it down. That'll do for the next one. And then run that. Reset. And we bring that one in again. Now we can start clipping the dark detail. We don't want to go too much, otherwise we'll start losing our detail in the cloud or the dust formation. So we're just dropping it back a bit. You see the histogram at the top now is dropped under a quarter. Again, that'll do for the minute. Because this is where it can all go wrong if you clip too much data. So again, we'll bring that out. And then we'll bring that one in again. Okay, where the shadows are, you don't want to clip any more than 1%. Otherwise, you're going to start losing a lot of the details. You can see it's at 185% now. So what I'll do is bring that back down to when it goes, just before it goes into the 3. So I'll drop it back to 0. I'll do again for the moment, apply that one. Reset. And then we can start bringing in that one again. Now you can see now that the dust is starting to form nicely on the just below the horse head. Now again we can bring in the slider from the left, but get these very fine amounts. So there you go, we've got 1% there. That's all I'm going to do now for clipping on the left hand side. And just apply that one, and then we might do it once more. So okay, reset, and then I might just bring that one in a bit more. And you can see the histogram is more or less on the quarter. That will do, I think. If we go too far over, haven't got a lot of data left to work with. So there we go. Okay, and you can see then there is actually quite a bit of data showing off some of the clouds there. You're not going to get a massive amount because it's only an hour and a half's worth of exposures. Ideally, you want a lot more than that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to extract the channel again, same as before. So to create a mask for a bit more noise reduction. So close that down. We're going to go to Histogram Transformation. Now we're going to select our extracted image, and then we're going to click on these two icons here and here. We'll then apply that, and the mask's going to get quite a bit brighter and a bit more defined, which is lovely. Going to close that down now, and then we're going to apply that mask. So if we show the mask, we're now protecting the detail of the nebulas, which we don't want at this stage, so we need to invert that mask. And then we can turn it off. Again, we're now going to go back to MLT, multi-scale linear transfer. A bit more noise reduction, but we're going to be a little bit more gentle with this one. So just copy the settings that I'm doing. It might be a bit trial error for whatever gear you're using. Half. And then we're going to apply that. Again, this is just for a bit more noise reduction. There we go, smooth out the image a bit more. Now we're going to do AC DNR. And you can just adjust the settings slightly. And just going to apply that. And then that's going to be pretty much our noise reduction done at this stage. There we go, that's all done. So we can now close that one down. We can get rid of that. Okay, so that's our image now denoised. So we'll look at doing, put another mask on. This is to protect the nebula again, so we can actually do a bit more with the background. It's all trial and error. If you don't like it, you can always undo it and start again, or just leave it. So I'm going to run the mask out. Not sure what's going on there. Let's try again. So, there we go. So just a little bit of fuzziness there. Smooth the image out so we don't overdo the edges. We want to protect some of that nebulosity and the cloud. So surprisingly, you don't really need that much. Probably drop the fuzziness back a little bit more as well. No. Yeah, happy with that. Again, if not, then just undo it and redo it. Okay, so we do get rid of that. Apply the mask. Okay, again, we need to invert the mask because we want to do the background. And we'll just go back to Histogram Transformation. And let's just play around with the settings. So just make it something a bit darker there. There you go, just to see how it compares. You can always reset it. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So just going to take a little bit of the background darkness down. It exposes a bit more of the darker areas and the dust clouds. Just smooth it off a bit. Yep, happy with that. So we can apply that. There you go, and we can get rid of that. We'll get rid of that range mask as well. We don't need that one. Again, you can see a bit more of the detail in the cloud. So what I'll do now is a quick curve transformation to another preview. Make sure it's on the RGB, and I'll probably just drop that down a little bit. Just brings a bit more darkness and contrast. And I'll push that one up there to bring a bit more of the colour out in the nebula. Yeah, quite happy. So we'll just reset it yet, so that's working quite nicely. Don't want to do too much. Yeah, there we go. Now just push that back up. It's quite nice. Yeah, like that. Happy with that. And we'll apply that. And then we'll get rid of that, get rid of the preview. And then that's not looking too bad. We can see some of the dust detail coming out. So what we'll do now is we can use MLT again. This one takes a bit of trial and error. And we'll just going to go to 8 layers, drop the bias back down to -1, and then that just adds a bit of detail to the background, so we can apply that. Or if you want to save a bit of time, just see how it's looking, we can do a preview, and I can look at our preview. We can apply that by dragging and dropping. Sometimes saves a bit of time. As you can see, that looks quite horrendous. So we could drop that down to say 5 layers. So let's get rid of that preview. Let's do it. I'm going to do another one. Drag and drop. We'll just see what that does. Yeah, not great. So to be fair, I'm probably not even going to bother with that one this time. It says trial and error. Sometimes things work, sometimes things don't. So, right, now we're going to go to Hdar, multi-scale transform. This is going to add a little bit of detail. It's going to bring out some of the darkness. Again, probably start there, start on with another preview. Then drag and drop. And then we'll have a look and see what that does. Not happy with that one. So I might go up to 8. And we'll do another preview. Get rid of that one. You think you probably need to go down, but actually you need to increase the number of layers. So we'll try 8. That's not too bad, so we might just give that one a quick run. Let's see what it's like as a whole, and if we don't like it again we can undo that and then just adjust the number of layers. Yeah, that's not too bad. You can always click the back arrow, see what it's like with before you've done the transformation. So we do lose a little bit of the brightness, but I think we do go in a bit of detail. So let's go back and then let's maybe go to 9 and we'll apply that one. It's all down to personal preference. Okay, nearly there. Yeah, there we go, 9, I quite like that. So let's just see what it's like before. Okay, so that was before we did HDR, and then that's with. And I think in this area here, with the HDR applied, we're getting a little bit more definition, especially around the nebula as well. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to leave that. So now we're going to go back to MLT, layers 2 and 3. I'm going to apply +1. And then what this should hopefully do is add a little bit more definition to the darkness. Or sharpen the images up a bit. So there we go. Get rid of that. And then we can click back. I think we notice, we'll zoom in a bit, sometimes it's a bit more obvious. Yeah, there you go. So on the Flame Nebula, if we zoom in on there a little bit more. So that was before we did the MLT, and that is with. So it just makes the head sharper, and there's a bit more detail in the flame nebula. So that we go quite happy with that. And then what I'll probably do is have a look at local histogram transformation. Where are we? There we go. So it's definitely worth applying a preview. As you can see with the preset, it's pretty horrendous. So what I'll do is bring that right back down to 0. Again, this adds a little bit more definition and detail. So again, just personal preference, as you can see, dialing it in. It's a bit smoother, so I tend to go round about 0.2. Just going backwards and forwards until you find that setting that you like. Then we give that one a go. So let's close the preview down, expand that image, and apply that. So there we go, that's the image applied, or the local histogram applied. So again, I always like to click the back button to undo what we've just done, just to make sure I'm happy with that. So again, sometimes it's worth zooming in. So I quite like that. It's just added a bit more sharpness and a bit more detail. So now what I'm going to do is going to go to Script, Utilities, and there's a dark background, or dark structure enhance rather. Use the default, click OK. And hopefully what that'll do is just add a bit more clarity to the cloud, which is obviously what we're trying to specifically try and target in this video. There we go. So again, I click back or undo just to see what difference that's made. So again, it's adding a lot more darkness and detail into the horse and a bit more into the flame. Personal preference, I quite like that. It's not too bad, it just makes it a little bit sharper. And sometimes I might just try to get another run on that one. And if you don't like it, undo it, simple as that. There we go. So I think that's a little bit too much. So just going to click undo. Again, it's personal preference. Just reapply it. It's not too bad. Let's zoom out. Yeah, I'm not quite happy with that. I think I'll leave that as it is there. Okay. So then we're going to do a bit more curves transformation. Reset to preview. And then we just drop that back a bit more brightness. No, that's not too bad. Again, don't be afraid to reset it. It's just fine tuning now on what you like. So apply that one. make that preview window a bit bigger actually. So reset that. Don't be afraid to play around with the saturation levels as well. As much as we're trying to concentrate on the dark areas, we don't want to neglect the brightness in the nebula. I don't think we're going to need too much to do. Again, just try different things. Now I find green, for some reason, sometimes can help bring out the detail on a cloud or the dark dust lanes, so I always quite like to mess around with the green. It doesn't always work. Just try different ways of messing around with it. Oops. Okay, yeah, quite happy with that. Apply that. We're going to reset that. Don't be afraid to give a go on all the different settings. There you go. I mean, you can really bring out the dust lanes, but that looks quite awful. But we can certainly play around with. So that brings that. So again, just reset. I'm quite happy. It's a bit dark, but that one there does bring out a bit more of the cloud detail. I quite like that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then we'll run that. Now one more last thing to do to try and bring a bit more focus on the cloud is we'll do a star mask. Drop the midtones back to about 0.1 and the shadows, run that. It's going to take a few seconds to run this, I expect. There we go, there's our star mask. Get rid of that. Just going to apply that. And then we're going to go to morphological transformation. And what we can do is just have experimentation, see. So we'll leave it on full. It's going to be clearly way too much. But we'll have a look. No, it's actually not too bad. So again, we can click back or undo. And then reapply. Just tones the stars down a little bit more. And I think how that brings out a little bit more of the detail out. So I'm going to unapply that. I might just try that. Actually, we'll try that one. And then we'll give that a go again. Yeah, that's probably a bit better. Go undo. And reapply. Yeah, I quite like that. Just brings more attention to the cloud and the nebula. So that is a quick overview on what I do. A lot of it's trial and error. Let me get rid and yeah, there we go. So I hope you found that helpful, and yeah, let me know if I can help you further. Okay, cheers.